Hello, this is Jane Farmer, PGwidow, in discussion with Jeff Lampert, former chairman of Heritage PLC, now in liquidation. And we're talking about the abuse of personal guarantees. Right, hi Jeff, how are you?
Hi Jane, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good, yeah. Now,
Good.
Jeff, we're going to talk about personal guarantees today. You gave a PG, can we call them PGs? You gave a PG on your business some time ago, and it was called on. Did you want to sign that PG, Jeff? I mean, can you tell us how you signed it?
Well, the personal guarantee was my guarantee, so it wasn't really on the business. The business is a separate entity, so by giving a personal guarantee, I lost the protection of limited liability for the business.
And were you happy with that?
Basically, at the time, I had pretty much no choice. We were waiting for recoveries from an insurance claim, which we eventually got, and the bank insisted on the personal guarantee in the meantime.
So did you know how the bank were going to use that personal guarantee?
Absolutely not. I think the correct word there is abuse rather than use. So the answer to your question, simplistically, is no.
Right, so would you say they used it as a first resort or a last resort?
They used it as a first resort. Basically, they didn't look at any other ways we could have paid them, like waiting for the insurance to come in, the other assets the company had, which were very significant. It was a quoted company. There was lots of intellectual capital there. We supplied almost 50% of the housewares of a variety of people like Sainsbury's, etc. There was a huge amount of goodwill, as well as a tax refund due.
Right, so, and were you shocked? Were you shocked when they called in your personal guarantee instead of looking at what assets your business had?
I knew I'd given a personal guarantee, so I wasn't shocked. What they actually did was sack me at the same time. So basically, I lost access to all the papers that I had. And more importantly, and you probably felt this with Godfrey, I lost my identity. I didn't quite know who I was. It was such a change for somebody who'd worked 24/7 to not having to work.
I suppose the thing is, when you give a guarantee, you might think that you're in control of your business and therefore you can control whether you need to call on a guarantee or not. But when that happens, you lose all control, and you can no longer counteract it.
Absolutely. When you give the guarantee, you do believe you still have some control of it. But in my case, as I said, Grant Thornton sacked me immediately, or virtually immediately, and I lost everything. I didn't even know who I was.
Right. And so what are the other consequences, Jeff, of personal guarantees? I mean, shall we list them now to get it out of the way, of the terrible effects that calling on a personal guarantee has on a business and on a family?
Let's start with on me. As I said, I was completely lost. I really didn't know who I was. The guarantee was part of them closing the business down. But I was the business was me. They lost a fortune by closing it down and getting rid of me, because so many of the connections, particularly with suppliers, was mine. Clearly, they were not too concerned about how much they could get back from the business. They were not concerned at all. They had my personal guarantee on Vanessa's and my property, and that was worth more than we owed them.
Okay, and why would a lender do that? Why would a lender not look at all the assets that you had in your business? Because it causes unimaginable distress and horror to do that to somebody. I mean, not only to the signatory of a personal guarantee, but their whole family and possibly people at work as well. So why would they do it?
I think the answer to that is the lender cannot care. And if you've been doing it as long as I have, you will see some people who do care and what it does to them. For instance, the solicitor who took over my case for Lloyds Bank from the crook that set this up, he and I got on quite well. He could see what happened. And when he retired, he went into the clergy. Now, I have this theory, I haven't really proven it, that the other side, so to speak, the banks, etc., get as badly hurt as, or not as badly hurt, but get hurt as well as our side do. And the whole thing is a nonsense and shouldn't happen.
And isn't your legal case a precedent for this? Because you obviously you objected to what was going on, and I think it's yours is the precedent that the banks work to now.
Yes, mine appears to be the precedent that they work to now. But talking about the precedent, my case was based on a perjured affidavit, and therefore the precedent has to be questionable. Right.
Okay. Can I just read you something, Jeff, that somebody sent me on Twitter? Actually, a professional banker has sent this to me on Twitter. He says, bankers are not taught the principles for lending. They are pawnbroking assets. Personal guarantees are vicious, especially in the hands of insolvency practitioners. Now, I don't know, I suggest to you that if there wasn't a guarantee on businesses, the banks actually might support businesses. That's another issue. You know, so first resort, last resort. Any comments?
Well, basically mine was a guarantee of last resort, and that was discussed at the hearing. And basically it is so much easier for the bank to go straight to the guarantor, one person, all the money is within the guarantee, and personal guarantees are abused, but that's something we can have a later discussion about. Okay. Right now we're talking about me and you, and the effects that it had on me were bad enough. It led to, I'm sure, my wife's suffering from breast cancer and then open heart surgery as a result, because these things do affect the body. But I think you're a prime case where your husband went through hell.
Yeah. And attempted suicide. Yeah, it was horrendous. Totally avoidable as well.
And your husband was exactly the sort of guy that this country now needs to get it out of the terrible mess it's in, because he was bright and he was prepared to invest in his business.
Yeah, yeah, but was not supported. Okay, right then, Jeff, we will have another conversation about this another time.
I'm sure we will. I think there's a lot to come out. This could be the medium for it to come out. Anybody who wants to join in, so to speak, can join in on Twitter. Jane, I admire you tremendously. Your impact statement says it all.
Okay, and that's on the website.
Absolutely.
I'll see you soon.
Sure.